After moving into our first home, I let my in-laws stay with us for just a few days. 3 weeks later, my closet was full of her clothes, my coffee mugs were replaced, and she told me, "It finally feels like our home again." My husband said, "She's just nesting." I smiled. Then I called the realtor who sold us the house. The next week, I listed it without telling either of them. The following month, I left, with the profits and a new lease in my name alone. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to sell a house behind my husband's back. But here I am. Let me tell you how it happened. My husband Nate and I had been married 6 months when we closed on the house. A ranch-style home in Hickory, North Carolina. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, nice little fenced-in backyard. It wasn't huge, but it was ours. The first thing we did that felt really grown up together. We picked out the place, signed the papers, moved in, unpacked boxes side by side. We picked out new towels together, new dishes. I was excited for a quiet life. Finally, for the first few months, things were okay. We'd argue over dumb things. What couples don't? But we always found our way back. Then Sharon showed up. Sharon is Nate's mom. She was widowed a few years ago when Nate's dad passed. I felt for her at first. She had a hard time after the funeral. She kind of just spiraled, wouldn't stay in one place long. She'd always have a reason why the landlord was impossible, or the rent was too high, or she felt unsafe. She was staying with a friend about 45 minutes away, but one night that fell apart. The friend kicked her out, supposedly over a dog that peed on the carpet. I still don't know the real story. So Nate told her, "Just come stay with us for a few days." That's how it started. I came home from work that Tuesday, and there were bags lined up by the entryway, like she was moving in. Nate was stirring spaghetti in a pot like nothing was weird. Sharon was already on the couch with a blanket over her lap, like she lived there. I kept my face still. I didn't want to cause a scene. Nate looked up and smiled. "She just needs a couple days, babe. She'll be out by the weekend."
"Sure," I said.
Just a few days. That was mistake number 1. By the end of the first week, Sharon had taken over the guest bathroom. All my extra toiletries were gone. She had lined up her hair products, her pills, and a huge bottle of lavender lotion that smelled like the perfume section in a mall. She left damp towels on the floor, and I swear she shaved her legs in the sink. She also started making suggestions. Harmless at first. You really should keep the knives in a drawer, not on the counter. Makes the kitchen look messy. Then, "I can't believe you keep white sheets on your bed. So hard to clean." And then, "The way you stack your plates is all wrong, honey. Your grandma never taught you better?" I tried to ignore it. I'd talk to Nate, and he'd laugh it off. "She's just old school. You know how she is."
Yeah.
I was learning. By the second week, I noticed my favorite coffee mugs were missing. Not broken, just gone. I looked all over the kitchen. They were wedding gifts from my sister, a little set that said his and hers. One day they were in the cabinet, and the next day, replaced. She had swapped them with floral mugs that looked like they came from a garage sale. I asked Nate about it. He scratched his head. "Mom probably boxed them up. She's got a system." "A system?" I said. "This is my kitchen." "She's just helping," he said. "She's trying to make it feel like home." Home. Then came the day I opened our bedroom closet and saw her blouses hanging next to mine. Not in the guest room. In my room. 3 cheap blouses. I knew they were hers because I remembered her wearing one at dinner a week before. It was that ugly peach-colored thing with ruffles down the front. I stood there staring at it, frozen. She had opened my closet and made space for her clothes. Without asking, I walked out to the living room. She was sitting on the couch watching some reality show with the sound cranked up. I said, "Hey, Sharon, did you put some clothes in my closet?" She didn't even look up. Just needed a little room. "I'm running out of hangers in the guest room." Nate walked in right after. I turned to him and said, "Are you okay with your mom hanging her stuff in our room?" And he laughed. "She's nesting. Let her be. Nesting. Not pregnant. Not dying. Just nesting." like a bird getting cozy in a tree that wasn't hers. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there beside Nate while he snored, and I stared at the ceiling. I thought about how fast everything had changed, how invisible I felt in my own house, how my own husband kept choosing his mom's comfort over my boundaries. She had rearranged the living room. She moved the sofa so it faced the window, said it made more sense. She took down a photo of me and Nate from the entry table and put up an old picture of him at age 6 in a cowboy hat. She swapped out our bathroom towels for beige ones that felt more neutral. And then one morning, as I walked past the hallway, she said something that finally broke me. She stood there, brushing her hair in front of the mirror, and said, "It's starting to feel like our home again."
Our
Home. Again. What the hell did that mean? I didn't ask her.
I didn't yell.
I didn't cry. I smiled. I packed my work bag, kissed Nate goodbye, and told him I'd be home late. Then I drove across town to meet the realtor who had sold us the house. His name was Greg. Nice guy, about 50. Knew the neighborhood inside out. He looked surprised to see me. "You're not thinking of selling already, are you?" he joked. "I am," I said. He blinked. "Is everything okay?" "It will be." We kept it quiet. No open house. No yard sign. He reached out to a few people he knew. Within 5 days, I had 2 offers. One from a couple with twins relocating from Georgia. They offered $28,000 over asking. All cash. I signed everything while Nate was at work. I kept coming home every night like nothing was happening. Sharon kept playing house. She started talking about painting the hallway. I told her, "Sure, go ahead." Let her waste her time. I signed the final papers the next Thursday. Closing was set for the following week. On Monday, I told Nate I was going to visit my sister for the weekend. He didn't ask questions, just said, "Tell her I said hi." I moved out that Friday, took everything that was mine, packed my car, and left the keys with the realtor. The next morning, the sold sign went up. Now I live in a small place near downtown. Nothing fancy, but it's quiet and clean.
And mine.
I still don't know what happened the day they found out. I imagine Nate was confused. Sharon probably screamed. But I don't care. I took my name off the joint account. I transferred the profits from the house sale into my own. I filed for divorce 3 days later. It didn't take long. 3 weeks after I left, I was settling into my new routine. I wasn't happy yet, but I was quiet, peaceful. The place I rented was a furnished 1-bedroom in a complex on the edge of downtown Hickory. Not glamorous, but it had a small balcony and decent water pressure. After the storm I'd just been through, that was enough. I hadn't blocked Nate's number yet. I kept expecting some kind of fight, maybe a knock on the door. But all I got were a few texts at first. Nothing emotional. "Nate, 9:22 p.m. where are you?" "Nate, 9:23 p.m. you can't just disappear." "Nate, 9:28 p.m. is this about my mom?" I didn't answer. What was the point? But then he came to my job. I work at a dental office, front desk, scheduling patients, handling insurance calls. It's not a huge office. We know most of our regulars by name. I was at the front counter checking in a patient when I saw him walk through the glass door like nothing had happened. He looked tired. Thinner. Same scruffy beard. Same worn-out boots. I froze. "Mel," he said. My boss was standing 10 feet away. I couldn't cause a scene. "Not here," I said quietly. "Wait outside." He did. I finished my shift without looking at him again. When I came out, he was leaning against his car. Arms crossed. "You really sold it," he said. I nodded. "You stole from me." "No," I said. "I took what was mine. You never paid a dime toward the down payment. You said you'd start helping once we got settled. You never did. You blindsided me." I didn't respond. There wasn't anything left to say. Then he said it. "The thing that changed everything. She's suing you." I stared at him. "Who?" "My mom." I laughed out loud. Couldn't help it. "For what?" "For emotional distress. She said you intentionally made her homeless." said you manipulated me and trapped her. She stayed in my house, Nate. She put her clothes in my closet. I let her live there for free while she treated me like a guest. She's hurt. She's insane. He winced, and for the first time, I saw something in his eyes. Fear.
Not of me.
Of her. You don't understand, he said quietly. She's not letting this go. I left without another word. The court papers came a week later. It was real. Sharon had hired a lawyer, some guy in town who probably took pity on her sob story, and filed a civil suit. Emotional distress, intentional infliction of harm, violation of tenant rights. I took it straight to my lawyer, a woman named Carmen I found through a friend. Sharp, no nonsense, didn't blink once as she read through the complaint.
This is garbage, she said.
But it'll cost you time and money to make it go away. How much? Few thousand. Could drag out a month or two. I didn't have that kind of extra money. Not after the rent deposit, the move, the legal fees for the divorce I'd just filed. But I also wasn't going to let Sharon drag me through the mud for daring to reclaim my life.
So I fought back.
I started collecting evidence. Old texts, photos, receipts, the home deed, which had only my name on it. Video footage from our Ring doorbell showing her arriving with bags. Showing her never paying rent. Never being a legal tenant. Then I found something even better. A Facebook post from Sharon, dated 2 weeks before I sold the house. She was in our kitchen, holding a glass of wine. Caption said, "Nothing like being back where you belong. Home sweet home, sparkling heart." Carmen grinned when she saw it. She's cooked. She just admitted she thought it was hers. That helps us prove intent. Meanwhile, Nate kept texting me, getting more desperate. Nate, 10:41 p.m., you need to stop.
She's my mom.
Nate, 11:08 p.m., you're destroying my family. Nate, 1:02 a.m., she's getting sicker. This is making her worse. I blocked him the next day. Then I got a knock on my door. Not the police. Not a process server. Sharon, looking pale, shaking, holding a Tupperware full of lasagna. "I just want to talk," she said. I didn't even open the door. She started crying right there on the doorstep. Loud like a show. Then she started yelling things I knew the neighbors could hear. She stole my son. She took my home. I called the cops. Quietly.
Calmly.
She was gone by the time they arrived, but the report was filed. I don't know what Nate told her. I don't know what version of events she's clinging to in her head. But I do know this. She picked the wrong person to mess with. After Sharon showed up at my door and I had her reported, things quieted down again for a little while. Carmen told me we were winning. She was confident the case would get thrown out. Sharon's Facebook post alone was enough to show she saw herself as more than a temporary guest. But I didn't relax. I knew people like her didn't just go away. Then, 2 weeks later, I got a letter from the bank. It was addressed to both me and Nate. That was weird because all the bills were in my name. Always had been. When I opened it, my stomach dropped. It was a withdrawal slip for over $18,000 from the joint account Nate and I had opened right after the wedding. The one we barely used. The one I forgot about. He'd taken it all.
Gone.
I called the bank right away. They said the account was still active, technically joint, and the withdrawal had been made in person. With ID. They couldn't reverse it. I was shaking. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat on my cheap couch, staring at the wall, feeling like an idiot. I thought I was so clever selling the house, walking away clean. But while I was handling Sharon and defending myself in court, Nate had quietly emptied what little savings I had left. I called Carmen. "Can I sue him?" She sighed. "Technically, yes. But you'll spend more fighting it than you'll get back. And if he used it already, good luck." I asked her what I could do. Her voice got quiet. "There's one more thing you might consider. You want to hit him where it hurts?" I said yes, without hesitation. So she helped me file something I didn't even know existed. A petition for financial misconduct during divorce. Basically, I was accusing him of using our joint funds in bad faith during the separation. Carmen told me judges in North Carolina don't like when one spouse drains an account before the divorce is final. It wouldn't get the money back, but it would mean he'd owe me in spousal debt, penalties, or lost assets later. Maybe a lien, maybe garnishment. It was a long shot, but I was done playing nice. And then came the biggest blow. Carmen's assistant called me one morning with a simple question. Did you co-sign anything with Nate when you bought the car?
No, I said.
Why? There's a credit check on your file. My heart started racing. I pulled my credit report online. There it was. 2 credit cards opened in my name. Both maxed. Both unpaid. I had no idea how. I'd been so careful. Then I remembered. I'd left a file cabinet in the hallway closet at the old house. Locked, but not bolted down. Inside, a folder with photocopies of my license and social. For job apps, apartment leases, adult life stuff. Nate knew the key was taped to the bottom drawer. I never imagined he'd use it against me. I called the fraud line, filed reports. It was going to take months to fix. Maybe years. He was burning everything behind him. Not to get me back. To ruin me. I stopped sleeping. Between the court case with Sharon, the stolen money, and the credit card fraud, I felt like I was unraveling. Every day, a new fire to put out. Carmen did everything she could, filed the fraud paperwork, added the financial misconduct claim, got me on calls with a credit repair agency. But deep down, I knew what this was. This wasn't a mistake. Nate and Sharon weren't just trying to defend themselves. They were punishing me for leaving. They were making sure I never got to move on clean. So I stopped playing defense. I went on offense. The first thing I did was call my old neighbor, Tara. She lived across the street from the house I'd sold. Sweet woman. Knows everybody's business. I asked her, "Have you seen Nate lately?" She laughed. "Oh, honey, he's still there." "What do you mean?" "The new owners, young couple, real polite, said he won't leave. Said he keeps showing up claiming the house was stolen from him." My jaw dropped. "He's squatting?" I asked. "He's trying to," she said. "Cops already came once. Said if he shows up again, they'll press charges." I thanked her and hung up. I thought I was done with that house. Thought I washed my hands of all of it. But Nate wasn't just trying to ruin me financially. He was dragging my name through the mud to the new owners too. That same week, I got a voicemail from Sharon's lawyer. She wanted to settle, not because she realized she was wrong, because the judge was getting tired of her games. Carmen told me the settlement was simple. She dropped the suit, I'd agree not to sue her for harassment or damages, and we'd both move on. I said no. I want this on the record, I told Carmen. I want people to see what she did. We went to court. She showed up in a neck brace. I'm not kidding. She had a full-on fake injury and told the judge I'd pushed her during the moving process. Said I was abusive, that she feared for her life. Carmen kept her cool. Showed the photos. Showed the lease. Showed the ring footage of Sharon smiling with wine in my kitchen, talking about finally being home again. The judge dismissed the case. Hard. Told Sharon she was lucky I hadn't countersued. Then came Nate's turn. I filed police reports for identity theft. I gave them the forged credit applications, the file cabinet photos, even the bank withdrawal slip. It was a slow process, but after a few weeks, I got a call from the detective. "Your ex-husband is being charged," he said. He admitted to opening the cards, claimed it was temporary, and that he meant to pay them off. He didn't. He used them to buy a new laptop and 2 weeks at a beach Airbnb in Wilmington. For him and Sharon. I stared at the report, speechless. He'd stolen from me to take his mother on vacation. The DA offered him a plea deal, probation, restitution, financial counseling. But I wasn't done. Carmen filed a motion in divorce court asking for full financial control of all remaining joint assets. The judge sided with us. Nate now owes me $21,400 in penalties, fees, and damages. If he doesn't pay, they garnish his wages. And I already had the lien placed. He called me last month. I let it go to voicemail. His voice sounded different.
smaller.
Hey, Mel. Just wanted to say,
I'm sorry.
about everything. I was scared.
I didn't handle it right.
I know that now.
He paused.
Mom's not doing great. She's sick again. Real sick this time. But I guess you don't care anymore. Then he hung up. And he was right. I don't care anymore. He let his mother treat me like trash. He stood by while she dismantled my life, piece by piece. And when I pushed back, he tried to destroy me. But I came out stronger. Now I live in a better apartment. New lease. New furniture. No one else's clothes in my closet. No wine-sipping ghosts in the kitchen. No one calling it our home, but me. I still have some debt to fix. Still a few dents in my credit. But I'm working on it. Because the truth is, I didn't just sell that house. I burned the bridge between who I was and who I'll never be again. And I don't regret a single match I lit.